Hi, this is Amy from alchemillahospital.net, and once again, this is going to show some of the codes, some of the Game Shark codes that allow Harry to walk through walls. And you see him sort of floating in midair there. And the PC, well, being played on PC on an emulator on the right, and then on the left, I'm playing on PS3.
In this town? What could be making things like this?
I think I messed up the editing here, but I'll figure that out later.
Cheryl.
Oh, here's the elevator opening again because I messed up the editing. And I tried to get more footage of Alessa in this hallway here, but you really don't see anything interesting anyway. When she goes through the wall, she just sort of disappears. I think you see that here. As Harry backs up. See, she just sort of fades right as she gets to the door, and then she's not there anymore. When you go on steps with the codes, it sort of freaks out and he falls down at the bottom. And here we get the screwdriver and the pliers. This is where it starts to repeat different rooms, and we notice that nowhere is sort of a weird place like that. And now we're going to go back up to the main hallway. And I used to have this memorized pretty well. Maybe not quite so well now. And these were really my favorite nurses out of the whole series, and it was, sad that we only get the sexy nurses pretty much after that. And, the bubblehead nurses, and then other, similar ones in other games. And another of the repeated rooms. This resembles the antique shop. Except it has this weird clock here. That has a key, but we can't get to it. Because it's locked. Even though he has, guns and axes and so on, he can't manage to break through the glass, I guess. And we don't have that key yet, so nothing to do here. And now we get to use the pliers. This was always one of my favorite levels, except for when you get toward the end, and then there's those, shadow children thingies that kick your ass and are really strong. There's the alert door. And the hint for that is at the other end of the hallway, but I never looked because I have all these memorized anyway. So then we get to meet Lisa one more time. Once we go through the morgue. And even the parts that were also in the hospital are sort of rearranged just to cause more confusion in this level, I suppose. Because that was, you had to go down the basement steps, and the morgue was down there, originally in the hospital.
Harry,
Lisa.
And there's
What's the matter
Lisa.
with you?
I get it now. Why I'm still alive even though everyone else is dead. I'm not the only one who's still walking around. I'm the same as them. I just hadn't noticed it before.
Lisa. Lisa.
And sometimes when Harry goes through a door, the camera like weirdly goes above his head, pointing downwards, and that's because with the codes, the monsters sort of fall through the floor. See, I did it again right there. That's because one of the nurses just sort of went right through the floor and disappeared. Because apparently they don't detect the ground or something either, so they just... The flying monsters stay, and that's about it. Some of the bosses. And then some of the bosses don't show up, so then you can't beat the level. You have to go back without codes. And then there's this puzzle. I think it works if you do it their like number in the zodiac, but I don't recall. But it also works if you do the number of legs. Like Gemini, there would be, I mean not legs, but limbs. So Gemini would be 8. And over here. So then we got 4 on this one, and which should give us the Stone of Time. And there's the Key of Eritron just floating around. Also in a different room. Because I messed up the editing. Now if we go back to the main hall and into the antique shop door, sort of at the end on the left there. Right in there, we can use the Stone of Time and get that key. Stone of Time, then we use it. And you didn't get the glass breaking there because, I don't know, it cut off editing there. I mean, cut off recording there. I forget what happened. Key of Haggith, and that's at the end of the hallway which goes to the elevator. There's like a little square room, and then there's an elevator. And the double doors at the end. And I made a map of this once, and if you go to 2, I think you can go between 1 and 2, and it takes you to sort of opposite ends of two different hallways that sort of connect in the middle. And I've seen other maps that say that they're on different floors, but then you'd have to sort of warp from one floor to another when you go between the doors. So I think it's easier just to think of them as being on the same level. And then the elevator sort of warps you from one area to the next. Sort of, horizontally rather than vertically.